President Donald Trump is currently facing a significant decline in his approval ratings among Generation Z voters. Recent polls indicate a sharp drop in support, signaling growing frustration with his leadership and policies from this crucial demographic. This shift comes despite surprising inroads Trump made with young voters in the 2024 election. The polling data, a rapid decline. According to a YouGov/Yahoo poll conducted between June 26 to 30th, President Trump's net approval rating among Gen Z voters has sharply deteriorated, falling from -23 points in May to -41 points in June. His overall approval rating within this group now stands at a mere 27%, with a margin of error of plus or -3.2%. While net ratings tend to fluctuate more, this still represents a significant downturn. Further reinforcing this trend, the latest Qantas Insights poll, conducted from June 30 to July 2, found that only 35% of Gen Z voters now approve of Trump's job performance, while a substantial 58% disapprove. This is a considerable drop from the previous month, when the same poll showed him with 46% approval and 51% disapproval among young voters. The ActiVote poll, conducted throughout June, presents a similar picture. It shows that just 32% of Gen Z respondents approved of Trump's performance in June, compared to 62% who disapproved. This marks a dramatic slide from May, when approval and disapproval were almost evenly split at 47% and 48%, respectively. These figures suggest that any modest gains Trump achieved with younger voters in 2024 appear to be eroding quickly. Why the shift? Issues over party allegiance. Lucas Walsh, a youth political behavior expert and professor at Monash University, suggests that this decline in support reflects how young people respond to issues rather than party allegiances. This group, typically leaning left, showed a surprisingly narrower gap in the 2024 election, with Kamala Harris leading Trump by just 51% to 47% among 18 to 29-year-olds, a much tighter margin than Joe Biden's 61% to 36% lead in 2020. However, the current data indicates this trend is reversing. Walsh notes that while many young voters did back Trump in 2024, his dizzying array of announcements across contentious issues since then may be pushing them away. He emphasizes that young voters are particularly sensitive to pocketbook concerns because economic hardship and uncertainty typically affect younger people disproportionately compared to older voters during economic downturns. He further explained that these younger voters often care less about red and blue party lines and more about issues, particularly progressive ones, and issues affecting the bottom line of their day-to-day lives. This highlights a pragmatic, issue-driven approach to politics within Gen Z. A broader sense of pessimism. Beyond Trump's individual approval, the general mood among young voters also appears to be souring regarding the country's overall direction. The YouGov/Yahoo data reveals a growing pessimism within Gen Z. In May, 27% of Gen Z voters believed the U.S. was headed in the right direction, while 53% felt it was on the wrong track. By June, this optimism had sharply decreased, with only 21% now believing the country is on the right course, compared to a significant 66% who think it's off course. Interestingly, this growing discontent doesn't seem to be translating into robust support for Democrats. The Qantas poll indicates that young voters are feeling politically homeless, with 43% of Gen Z voters believing that neither major party adequately represents American values. This suggests a broader disillusionment with the established political system. Key issues driving disapproval. Specific policy areas appear to be driving Trump's declining approval among Gen Z. Economy. While the decline was more modest, Trump's economic approval slipped from 33% approval/54% disapproval in early June to 32% approval/60% disapproval by month's end. Inflation. This is a top concern for young voters, and Trump's approval on this issue dropped significantly, from 32% approval/57% disapproval at the start of June, to just 23% approval/69% disapproval by the end of the month. The rising cost of living is directly impacting their daily lives. Immigration, another central theme in Trump's messaging. His net rating on immigration among Gen Z voters also eroded, going from 40% approval/52% disapproval at the beginning of June, to 30% approval/65% disapproval by month's end. Conclusion. The recent polling data paints a clear picture of President Trump's rapidly declining support among Generation Z. This shift appears to be driven by a combination of his recent policy stances, particularly on economic issues like inflation, and a broader sense of pessimism among young voters about the country's direction. For Gen Z, political allegiance seems less important than a candidate's ability to address the practical concerns affecting their daily lives and future prospects. This demographics evolving political landscape will undoubtedly play a crucial role in future elections.